Hey, yo, we locked in. It's due season. It's your boy Carl Anthony, and welcome to the Man Cave. Today, real quick, I'm going to speak to y'all about how to remain on your purpose and alpha while being in a relationship. Right now, desperate times call for desperate measures, or difficult times for difficult. You know what I'm trying to say. The point is, a relationship in the 21st century is a whole different beast. Okay, women are not the same type of women from yesteryear. Men are not the same type of men from yesteryear. We have a lot of new values, in this new landscape of dating and marriage and things like that. If you go back to the 1950s, right? Men went to war. Women were forced into the workplace for the first time. For the first time ever, they were forced to work, okay? So, the idea of women being homemakers started to dwindle. That was the beginning, right? And, fast forward to the 60s, you start having more of the feminist movement, women being free and, exploring their sexuality, exploring being single and not being under the confines of a relationship, raising a kid by themselves, things like that. That was starting to, those thoughts were starting to form. Now, at the same time, it still wasn't prevalent, but you did have a subsector of people that were, thinking this way. And you had men, that were choosing more so not to be married and, exploring different options, right? Then you fast forward to, the 70s, kind of more of the same. You got the pimps and prostitution going on, and then you get to the 80s and you got the crack epidemic. And so the breakdown of the black family, when it came to the crack epidemic, was running rampant in the 80s. And then it trickled to the 90s. More and more single motherhood and just different kinds of behaviors being explored through the lack of male presence in society in the correct way. Now, today, you have, even people who don't even have money are talking about having prenups and, all kind of sorts of things, right? And the trust in marriage is at an all-time low. We have billboards promoting divorce. Billboards, literal billboards promoting divorce. Which, men have been taken to the cleaners with their finances, losing custody of the kids, all kind of things that are like deterrents for forming good relationships. Now, you got to ask yourself, now, many men are, that are into the whole semen retention thing and, red pill knowledge and all that kind of stuff. Most people in this day and age are anti-marriage. And I understand it completely. Trust me, I understand it wholeheartedly. It's a tough time to be married. It's a tough time to be in a committed relationship. A tough time to bring a child into this world. But do you ever ask yourself why the idea of having a traditional, quote-unquote, family is now deemed as taboo? And if you're red pill, you got to understand that red pill doesn't mean that you're supposed to stay away from the confines of marriage. Red pill should mean that you should handle yourself accordingly because of the confines of marriage. Meaning, with the knowledge of being red pill, you should know what type of woman can suit you. You should know what kind of woman that you can deal with on, you know, more of a, on beyond a surface level. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we've been fed propaganda all our lives to sway us away from marriage, and or if you are to be married, you're supposed to be a certain way. You know, men are not supposed to be as, you know, outspoken. Women should be equal to us and all of that kind of stuff. Now, women these days always want to be equal to you until it comes to like finances. You know, if something goes wrong financially, who are they going to look at? They're not going to look at themselves. They're going to look at you. A lot of times men find themselves in beta positions in their own marriage. And even though they have most of the status in the house as far as the things you can tangibly touch, as far as the money and, you know, the know how to do certain things, they still end up in a place of complacency, being controlled by the woman who doesn't bring as much to the table. This day and age, what you have to do, though, as a man is stand strong in a relationship. You have to make sure that your word is your bond. You have to be consistent. You have to be an upstanding man and not, you know, be afraid to speak your mind, not be afraid to put your foot down when necessary, but also not be an asshole and not be controlling. You want to be in control, but you don't want to be controlling. It's a big difference. You know, a man that's a provider, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to be taken advantage of. It means that, hey, you a man, provide. You are the sole provider. You are the main provider, I should say. Not sole provider, but the main provider. You should be. You should be the one that the family has to lean on. But at the same time, that means that they need to be listening to you. But that means you also need to be steering them in the right direction. So, that is why I say this every time. As a young man, if you're young, if you're 20, 25, even 30, if you're not where you need to be in life, do not commit to a long-term relationship. Do not get married until you are established in who you are. That doesn't mean having a certain amount of money, but you do need some savings. You need some kind of lucrative career or business path or something going on in your life. You need to have your financial house in order before you get married. These are the things you must do. That's how you hold your frame in your position as a man in your own house. That's the only way you can really do it. You got to be able to stand on your own feet by yourself. You can't be waiting on a woman to bring you up. You need to be bringing her up. You understand what I'm saying? So if you want to have the respect of your woman, you got to be that. You got to be that king, but you got to move like that king. You can't just say you're a king. It doesn't mean anything. You know, the notion that you're a king doesn't mean anything if your actions are not backing it up. If you're not a man in your word, if you're not consistent, if you're not a provider, if you don't know how to do anything handy, if you don't know how to be strong and stand up for your word, then you can't be that king of the house. But the minute you start letting the woman be the king of the house, you're losing. You're losing. And it's so hard to get it back. Okay? The minute I found myself doing beta things in my household, man, I had to take a step back and look at myself like, man up. Man up. For real, man up. So, like and subscribe, man. Hit the comment section, man. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave if you got a question, email me. It's in the details, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.